Sydney cardiologist plans to become Uganda's next president. Kampala, Daniel Byansi, 21, is a Ugandan student who has only ever known one president, and is desperately yearning for change. He's hoping that Dr. Kiyinji will deliver this to his country. The infrastructure is in a bad condition. Let my future children have some good roads, said Mr. Byansi. Let them experience good health services. The doctor is Ugandan Kiyinji, now a Castle Hill-based cardiologist, who moved to Australia in 1982 and has a practice in Marylands and Sydney. To his supporters in Uganda, Dr. Kiyinji, 61, is a God-fearing Christian and natural leader who has constructed boreholes, paid orphan school fees, and introduced the internet in the East African nation through his company, Dehezi International. But Dr. Kiyinji, who is alleged to have provided logistical and financial support to Muslim rebel group Allied Democratic Forces, ADF, linked to the murders by Ugandan police, denies the charges. To the authorities, he is a wanted man, after being charged in absentia in March with terrorism, murder, attempted murder and crimes against humanity over the recent killings of Muslim clerics. He claims they're part of the game plan of Yoweri Museveni, 70, who has ruled Uganda since 1986, ahead of the country's 2016 elections. If there was no support for me in Uganda, Museveni would not be having sleepless nights, said Dr. Kiyinji, who has declared he will challenge the veteran leader as president. If there was no support for me, police would not be harassing my supporters, arresting, following them, threatening them, says Dr. Kiyinji. By the very fact that they're spending so much time and money trying to block anybody who says the name Kiyinji in the papers or on the radio, that tells you a lot of things. In Uganda, opposition leaders and activists are regularly arrested. Supporters of sacked Prime Minister and former Museveni ally, Mbabazi, who officially declared his presidential ambitions earlier this week, have already been jailed for unlawful assembly and early electioneering. It's now also like a crime to be found with Kiyinji's leaflets, said supporters of his Uganda Federal Democratic Organization, UFDO party. UFDO is yet to be officially registered in Uganda, but for the past 2 years about 160 followers have been campaigning for their liberator. Since December, 20,000 posters, 55,000 flyers, and 1.5 million business cards have been handed out. But the party claimed in the last year about 87 supporters have been arrested for unlawful assembly, many charged and jailed. Daniel said he was detained for about 6 hours after police discovered Kiyinji's photo on his phone. Frank Bora, 33, who gave up his teaching job to volunteer as a UFDO youth mobilizer, alleged that he was tortured after handing out the cards at a university. My eyes were sprayed with tear gas so I couldn't see, he said. I was beaten. Then they took me to their so-called safe houses, the police plus other special force agents. Mr. Balera was charged, released from jail a week later, and the case was dismissed, but only after more intimidation and threats. They told me that we are in control, you don't know the regime you're playing with. Next time we find you doing this work you're going to meet your creator, said Mr. Balera. The UFDO campaign is now being carried out in Uganda carefully, door to door, online, by supporters such as Daniel, and via radio from other countries including the US, South Africa and Australia, where Dr. Kiyinji said he had tremendous backing. Some people have said, "We'll go on the plane with you to protect you," said Dr. Kienji, adding he would definitely return to Uganda by the end of the year. They know Museveni is a dictator. He is a killer. Dr. Kienji said he had not been served with any Ugandan court summons in Australia, and that the Ugandan High Commission in Canberra had not contacted him about the charges. Uganda police spokesperson Fred Inanga said the authorities had been monitoring Dr. Kienji, in 2006 acquitted of organizing his wife's killing, for the past 2 years. It is prudent that he gets back home, said Mr. Inanga. But he said Uganda would soon apply to have Kienji extradited under a Commonwealth arrangement. The only people linked to Dr. Kienji who had been arrested, said Mr. Inanga, were the ones undergoing training for recruitment into rebel activities. Lawyer Ladislaus Wakafuzi, representing some of the 23 indicted alongside Dr. Kienji, including his sister-in-law, described the charges as trumped up. He said it was the current regime's plan to leave them languishing in prison until after the election, due early next year. Then they can say they're no longer interested in the case, said Mr. Wakafuzi, adding, Museveni never leaves anything to chance. In Australia, Dr. Kienji is continuing to work 96 hours a day, or what it feels like. Museveni has fooled the world for so long and he thinks he can get away with it, he said. This time he's playing with the wrong man. I'm not going to give up. When he does return to Uganda, Dr. Kienji's supporters will be waiting. We shall move with him everywhere, because he is what it will take to liberate the country, said Mr. Balera. The Ugandan government was approached for comment, but did not respond.